What's going on, everybody? Another week down. We're in May. It is May 14th today. I don't know why I'm telling you the date, but you're going to hear it from me anyway. Welcome into the Rubber Match. As always, I'm your host, Evan Kamiko. We got a loaded show for you today. We won't do too much baseball. I'll do our normal housekeeping baseball, but we're going to go out to Bogle Park. We've got a special in-person interview with Hog slugger Courtney Day. That's coming up in just a little bit, but let's talk baseball first. Then Courtney and I sit down. We chat everything, her path to Arkansas, what it's like hitting behind Bree Ellis, the expectations for the postseason, what Hog fans can expect this weekend. And I got to tell you, it's some fireworks. Plus, we talk a little bit about Divorced Dads Rock. So if you haven't heard anything, that's our playlist. That's a fun one. That's all coming up in a little bit. But let's start right now and talk some baseball because Arkansas is coming off another series loss. Not this time. Look, you could say a lot about this LSU series and where the Hogs should be, whether or not they're failing this season or passing this season. We'll get there, but at the end of the day, they dropped 2 games to LSU, really in a span of like 24 hours, you can say, if that. Really losing game 1 like Friday morning because of wacky weather. That pushed the game back to like 9 o'clock. That game didn't end up ending until about 1:15 in the morning, then end up getting blown out in game 2 13-3. Game 1 was a game that you really had it, and that's where I kind of want to start with our normal housekeeping stuff because this guy was off the charts good. Gabe Gackle was maybe as good as we've seen him. He came in relief for Aiden Jimenez, who struggled in giving up the Curiel single, the 2 RBI single that LSU was able to tie the game, and then Gabe Gackle just slammed the door. Obviously, he picked up the loss, but between that 10th, 11th inning and when he came in at about the 8th, he was just lights out, making pretty much every LSU hitter look silly, except when they got him at the end. Again, you could have made that play. That play was inches difference. If, the rider slaps the tag a second earlier, you could say a million things what you want, but Gackle was brilliant. His K count up to 62 on the season. We'll go up to the Eloy Dingers because only one this weekend, and that was 30 is where we stand right now. So not a lot of dingers from the Eloy brothers this weekend. Maybe we'll see some more fireworks, as this weekend as the Hogs return home for the series finale against Tennessee. So that's where we stand on most of our housekeeping stuff right now. If we go to the field view, the full screen, we're kind of where the same place as last week, and I think this is where the lineup is really going to be. Your outfield is set. Logan Maxwell looked good when he came back. JTJ in center. Davalon in left field. Your infield, as DVH said earlier today, Reese Robinette, as of right now, is going to be the guy at first base, and we'll see what happens with matchups between him and Pepe, but expect Robinette to get more of that load. Kojal at second, Vahiva at short, Iredale at third, Helfrich behind the plate, who's been hitting really good, had another good weekend. I keep saying he's like sneaky hitting good, and his average is up to 314. I was surprised in game 3 that he wasn't hitting in the 3 hole. I think we'll see Ryder in that 3 spot this upcoming weekend. I'll really be curious to see what DVH does with the lineup itself, but that's kind of where we stand. And now I want to go on my soapbox really quickly because this was a series where, you could say it's disappointing. You could say this and that, but Arkansas, they should have won that series in LSU. Like, I was at first a little, deflated. It's like, man, Jimenez, who's been their best closer, ends up getting shelled a little bit. Like, you're deflated a little bit, but you're okay at the end of the day where you were like, you're a pitch or two away from Arkansas potentially going out and winning the series down in Baton Rouge, one of the hardest places to play in college baseball, and it's a good series to show the Hogs who they are. A little bit of a gut check coming off that emotional high of sweeping Texas, and now you welcome in a Tennessee team this weekend that is really searching for answers. They've lost 5 of their last 6 series. The only series they've won dating back to the Ole Miss series a couple weeks ago. They've got some really big pieces. Andrew Fisher, the Ole Miss transfer, and Liam Doyle, another Ole Miss transfer. You'll see Doyle in game 2 on Friday. He won't start game 1 because Tony Vitello wants to give him the day off. So you'll see a little bit of a different look from this baseball team. But this series this weekend is going to be fantastic. If you can get out to Baum-Walker Stadium, I'd say to go do it, but go to Bogle Park first. Go to the regionals. The games are different times. Baseball starts tomorrow night. People should be able to get out to that game. And then Friday, it's 5:30, and I believe baseball is at 7. I can pull that up and look, but that's about when that game is. So again, really good weekend this weekend. Really fun weekend in town. But that's going to be all of our housekeeping because I don't want to keep anyone and want to get you straight to that. So game 1 Thursday, that's tomorrow. That game's at 7. Game 2 Friday at 6:30. Softball plays at 5:30 against St. Louis. And then game 3 between Tennessee and Arkansas. Baseball Saturday, 2 p.m. So a whole great weekend of baseball and softball. So without further ado, let's get you guys out to Bogle Park and that interview with Courtney Day. That's coming up on the other side of the break as the Hogs are getting set to host the Fayetteville Regional. Other teams are Indiana, St. Louis, and Oklahoma State. We'll catch you on the other side of the break with Courtney Day at Bogle Park. Bit different of a location here for the rubber match. We're actually outside at Bogle Park, and I'm pleased to be joined by Courtney Day. She's going to be our special guest this week. As you already know, Courtney, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's get right into it. You've had a long career in softball already. When did you first fall in love with the sport?
I fell in love when I was about 6 years old in league ball, and I wasn't natural, I guess you could say. That's what everyone says. But I just loved it, never wanted to do anything else but play softball. So
what was so natural about it?
I could hit the ball. I could actually hit the ball. That was like, I picked it up fairly fast. They wanted me on the all-star team my very first year ever playing. And so, and apparently in the area that I'm from, softball and baseball were like a big deal. Like our Pearland baseball teams would go to the Little League World Series every year. And so, you know, just there was a lot of talent within that area. So for me to pick it up fairly quick and be wanted on the 6U All-Star team, like, I mean, that's something that I kind of brag about, I guess.
What's your biggest brag when it comes to the 6U All-Star team?
What's the biggest brag? Wait.
Did you like brag to family, to
yeah.
friends?
Well, I just brag about it to my family more than my friends. Or like people around here, because you know they don't care. But I brag about it to my
people
family.
People around here care.
I brag about it to my family and like my close friends, because I just think it's cool. Like, you know, being able to pick something up so quickly and it being something that you just pursue the majority of your life. So it's a cool story to tell. And I brag about it obviously to my close friends who had been playing for years at that point and didn't have the opportunity to play on the All-Stars. So it's kind of funny.
Did you have a lot of family who played softball and baseball, or were you kind of the first one, the trailblazer in a sense?
My mom played softball, but not really competitively. She was more of a swimmer. My dad played baseball, but I don't think he really played it like, he wasn't like MLB, or he didn't get like play past like high school. He was more football. So I would say like, I lied. My cousins did play baseball, so I watched them play baseball growing up, but there wasn't a lot of people that played softball outside of my mom, and she just played for like a local league.
Yeah.
So it was no one that played in college or anything like that. I think I'm the first one to like really play like at a big Power 5 school. So.
We'll let your first lie of the day slide on the show.
Yeah.
We do make mistakes, we do lie at times, so we'll let it slide. But let's talk about, you go to high school, put up monster numbers, one of the best players in the state. When did you kind of know you wanted to do it at the next level?
I think I knew it rather young. I would say probably once I really started playing select and kind of saw, you know, college sports. And, you know, A&M was my dream school at the time because I wanted to be a vet. So I wanted to do anything to make that possible. And, you know, bringing the two together, you know, being pre-vet and playing softball in college is kind of what I wanted to do initially. And so that just seemed like, you know, the best thing ever at the time. And so I would say it was probably, you know, middle school, junior high is like when I was like, you know what, I'm playing college softball. Like, I'm going to find a way to play college softball. And so that's when I started taking it more seriously.
Why Texas?
Why Texas? That's a great question. So I actually grew up an OU fan. And my dad, diehard Sooner fan, brother same way, like whole family, they're from Oklahoma, and so they're Boomer Sooner fans, like through and through. And so when I was going through the recruiting process, and Texas was interested in me, and they invited me for a visit. Mm-hmm. My dad ended up actually going to Buc-ee's on the way and buying a Texas shirt because he didn't have any Texas gear whatsoever. And he ended up selling it as soon as the visit was over. So it was so funny. He was like, she's never going to come here. But, you know, I chose Texas because, and that's just a funny story that I tell everybody because it's actually my dad. Like that describes my father. But I chose Texas because it was, you know, I've always wanted to play like in the College World Series, and I wanted to compete against the best ideally. And so like I knew Coach White at the time was one of the best coaches that you could play for, and you know, Texas has always had a competitive background, and so I just wanted to play, you know, I wanted to prove who I was as a player and play against the best.
And I think you did, but we've got to talk about the 2022 College World Series. 3 straight games with home runs. You were absolutely hitting, you know, moonshots that entire time. Did you kind of think that was going to happen? Are you going into it like, I'm going to hit really well this week, or is it just see the ball, hit the ball, and all instincts?
I think when I went in there, I put more pressure on myself. Definitely game 1 against UCLA, it was like, oh my God, there's so many people here. And then come game 2, I think it was against OU or Arizona, I can't really remember. I think it was OU. I kind of just was like, this is just another game. Like, yes, like we're at the biggest stage that you could possibly be at, but like I kind of I gave myself some more grace and let myself just have fun and enjoy the moment. And I think by doing that, it took the pressure off of me, and I was just able to just play the game that I love at that point. And so I think that's why I was so successful during the College World Series, because I didn't make the moment too big, and by then it was just I was hitting home runs just so I could see my family smile in the stands.
What was that like, rounding the bases and seeing them smile?
Oh, it was the best. Like, if you watch any video from the College World Series, I'm just watching my parents the entire time, just excited to get the ball. They were all like, oh, it's my ball, and then it would be my brother's ball, and then it'd be my dad's ball, and then my sister didn't get it to go, so now she's like, I'm getting a ball this year if we make it. But just watching them and the joy on their face of just me, being proud of me, but having the opportunity to have a home run ball from the College World Series, nothing can beat that. So
let's talk now about kind of your time and how you ended up here. You go to Ole Miss for that year, have a back injury, then finally decide to come back to softball. What was that decision? What were the conversations like with Coach Deifel to get you from Austin eventually all the way to here in Fayetteville?
So I always have been interested in coming here. Even before I even was recruited by Texas, Arkansas was kind of always like, dang, like I actually fell in love. I came on a visit here, I think in my freshman year of high school, and I just fell in love with the field, the atmosphere, the coaches, and so it was kind of always that, dang, what would it be like to play at Arkansas? And so after, taking that year off and then talking to, Carly, who's my former roommate at Texas and one of my best friends, and kind of just seeing, what Arkansas truly was from like a player standpoint rather than, being on the opposing team. It was something that I was like, you know what, like I really want to like pursue this because, Coach Deifel, you can feel she just loves her players. You can feel that from the opposite dugout, and I felt that when I was playing against them in the supers, and then just having the initial phone call with her and talking to her for 30 minutes, and this is our first phone call, and she's just asking me questions about how I am as a person, but also like sharing her relationship with her sons, and it just was like, wow, like she wants to know me on like a personal level, but she also is sharing with me like her own personal side, and which is something that I've like always wanted like from a coach, is to have that personal relationship and be able to call on her like whenever I need her, regardless if I'm still in the program or I'm not. Mm-hmm. And I felt that from her, and that's kind of why I was like, you know what, I'm coming to Arkansas. So
I love that you brought up this 2020, the Super, that you were here. What was that like as a visitor, knowing that you might be able to do that in 2 weeks if you guys get out of the regional?
As a someone on the opposite side, it was tough. It was tough, dealing with the fans at Vogel, and the atmosphere is just unreal here. People in the berm, like you're surrounded by so many people, and it makes it hard for the opposing team, like it does. And so just having, all of the people here, it really puts pressure on. And so I'm glad I'm on this side of the field now.
How nice is it now that you're here? And you look at the team this year, going from 1-5 in SEC play to where you guys are now, number 4 overall national seed. What's kind of that been like to see the team be able to stick together? Because a lot of times you go 1-5 and the team breaks up, right? Like there's splits everywhere. You don't know what's going to be what. And now you guys able to come together and have that run. What's it been like to see the team as somebody who's been through a lot of college softball already?
Well, you know what? I think that a lot of the time the 1-5 really sets the tone for the rest of the season, and I think for this team specifically, it flipped our season. Mm-hmm. We took that as a slap in the face, because we knew that we were better. We knew we were better than that against Ole Miss and against Oklahoma, and we knew we weren't our best. And so we took that as a challenge to show everybody that we're not what we've shown. Yeah. And so I think that brought us together even closer, and then has really just we've just competed to raise the standard over and over again, and we still, I don't think, have reached our full potential yet. So
absolutely, I've got to ask you. You hit right behind one of the best players in college softball in Bree Ellis. What's that like, being able to kind of step up there? And, they're so scared to pitch to her, a lot of teams are. Then they get to you, and then you're hitting home runs left and right. What's that like, being able to hit behind someone like Bree?
So, I mean, it's awesome because me and Bree kind of pick each other up. Like, if she doesn't do good, then, I try my best to pick her up. And we feed off of each other really well. So just having her in front, she kind of calms me. I kind of calm her because we know that regardless of the outcome of whatever at bat, like, we have each other at the end of the day. And then we also can depend on our other teammates as well because we truly have one of the best lineups in the country. And I think that relieves some of the pressure off of both of us. But I mean, it's awesome to just be behind her and, when she does hit a home run, be at the plate, to give her her home run hug or, just watch her be successful. She's having a phenomenal year. So, it's just amazing to see.
A couple more, then we'll let you go. I got to ask about the hang loose, right? When you're going home, everyone's going like this. When did that start, and how have you kind of found your way with that?
So it actually started in practice, and it was Jaden Ramos just started it, and it was chill vibes. And so we've always kind of made that our like team motto or team thing, where like anytime we do something, it's just chill vibes. And so, but it's definitely made us who we are as a team, and it's something that we've depended on all season. But yeah, chill vibes.
Hoping chill vibes for the next 2 weeks. And you've kind of mentioned that 1 to 9, this lineup is so dangerous, where whether it's players with experience or young players, I'm curious for you, who's been through a lot of college softball, how do you, and you're also new here, this is year 1 on the Hill, how have you been able to balance being a leader and having experience with also kind of trying to learn the ins and outs of what Coach Deifel really teaches and preaches?
I would say this team has made me become more of a leader than I have at previous, my previous institutions at Texas and stuff, because one, I'm using my coaching experience, which has really made me more vocal and has allowed me to step up into that more vocal leader type style, which I've never been before. I've always been kind of a mute, I would say, especially in the leader aspect. But I would say that, also just the culture here and being so close with everyone, like there's no drama, there's like, that's hard when you're dealing with 21 girls. Like there's no drama. We all love each other. We might all be like best friends, but we love each other on and off the field. We will do anything for each other, and I think that's what helps make being a leader easier, and it also helps, learning and growing within Coach Deifel's way of doing things. And she knows how to be hard on you but love you at the same time, and I think that's what also makes it so fun playing with her. So.
I got 2 more questions, then we're going to go to a quick break. First question, what should fans expect this postseason here at Bogle Park from the Hogs?
Okay, I think that the fans should just expect a lot of fun from us and just come out ready for us to compete and give it our all, regardless of the outcome, which we want to make it to OKC more than anybody. But I think that they should just come out excited about, the best team that this program probably has had in a long time, or has ever had, as some people like to say. And just, come out and just expect us to give it our all for them.
A lot of chill vibes, right?
A lot of chill vibes.
Last question before we go to break. Got to ask about Divorce Dads, The Rock, that playlist. Where'd you find it? What's the origin? Better yet, I think a lot of people know that already, so I'll go this way. What's your 3 favorite songs on that playlist?
Oh, 3 favorite songs. That's a hard question.
I gotta ask the tough questions.
Okay. A lot of them are Creed or Hinder. Or Nickelback. That's a good one too. Okay, I would say if I had to pick 3, they would probably all be Creed. It would be Higher, with Arms Wide Open, or what is it called? I like One. Let's just go with those 3.
I love it. Courtney Day, thanks for joining the show. When we come back on the other side of the break, we'll wrap up the rubber match. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back into the show. We'll do some housekeeping before we leave, and by housekeeping, we'll talk a little bit about more of the regional matchup. You'll have Arkansas taking on A10 winner St. Louis, Indiana. My Hoosiers coming to town. Excited to see Shauna Stanton, Taylor Minnick, and those guys get here. We've got a lot of friends who will be coming to town as well, so that's going to be exciting. And then, again, the last team, Oklahoma State, a team that's been to 5 of the last College World Series in Oklahoma City. So it's going to be a really fun weekend of softball. Do I think Arkansas can get out of the regional? Absolutely. But the question's going to be is what is going to happen with this Hogs pitching staff? How will Courtney Deifel really handle? Because right now we've seen a lot of the 2 pitchers in Peyton Burnham and Robin Herron. That was especially eventful. Especially, you get my point. I'm trying to say that was especially noticeable in that Georgia series where Arkansas really threw Robin Herron a lot of the week. Peyton Burnham also made a start. And then you saw a little bit of Reese Burline in the game against Oklahoma. So it'll be really curious to see how Courtney Deifel balances her pitching staff. That's the big question. And then Arkansas's hitters. How quickly can they get going? A big theme at home this whole season has been scoring early for this team. If you get somebody on, again, then you're going to get your 3-4 hole hitters in Bri Ellis and Courtney Day. So it should be a really fun weekend of softball. Again, Arkansas is set to host St. Louis. That game's at 5:30 on Friday night. If you can get out to Bogle Park, I highly recommend you do. And then if they win, they'll play the winner of that Indiana and Oklahoma State game. Let's assume it is Oklahoma State. They play Oklahoma State and so on and so forth. So all of that is over on our YouTube and website right now if you want to learn more. And hey, we've got plenty other softball coverage coming at you. Jacob Morris on the Hog Roundup with Jacob Morris sat down with Carly Davison earlier this week. That's a great conversation. Go tune in. That's on our website and YouTube, as well as plenty of full coverage this entire weekend over at Bogle Park. It's going to be a fun weekend. It's going to be a busy weekend for us in the Pig Chill Room. And between baseball and softball, it is the best time of year for college baseball and college softball. But that's going to do it on this week's episode of The Rubber Match. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you back here next week on The Rubber Match.